Hello. Welcome to the Sanibel Captiva Guide podcast. Today, we're very fortunate to have our friend and superb fishing guide, Ozzie Fischer. Welcome to the show, Ozzie. Thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this guy is an absolute legend. If you know anything about fishing, or if you don't know anything about fishing, this guy is the man. There's a lot of charter guides that have been around. They come and go. Not saying there isn't some great ones. There are some great ones out there. But this guy is the real deal. If you see any local competitions or anything that is entered, either his team name or his name will be up near the leaderboard. Always a time-proven man. He's been around this area his entire life. Nobody knows more about the local waters than this guy right here. And not only that, second generation, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you ended up in... so you're based at South Seas Captiva. How did you find your way this way? How did you get into fishing guiding?
Well, I mean, basically found my way into fishing through my dad. You know, my dad started guiding full-time out of South Seas Resort on Captiva Island in 1972.
I'm thinking it has to be because of your last name, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be. Come on. Fisher. You have to be a fishing guide,
my
right?
one brother, Zach, is a realtor, so it's not Zach Realtor. It's
Okay.
Zach.
All right. Okay. So your dad was a fishing guide at South Seas?
Yeah. There's a gentleman here that still lives on Sanibel by the name of Jack Thomas, and he was a charter captain out of South Seas. And he went up to Martha's Vineyard, where my dad's from. My dad guided part-time for stripers and also owned the gas station at the marina in Menemsha. And him and my dad kind of hit it off. My dad took him striper fishing. He's like, you should come visit me. This place is pretty amazing. So my mom and dad came down here to visit him. And after about a week being here, they pretty much sold their business over the phone. And
that is such a familiar story. So many people do it.
Jack's dad was having some health issues, so he was going back to Miami to help him with real estate, and he's like, you can kind of take my position. So my dad came here not knowing anything how to fish here.
Oh, okay. Right. It's completely different.
Yeah, but my dad was just a natural gift for him, and I think I got that from him. It's always been easy to me, but he had... You know, I had his help in learning. My dad had to figure out everything on his own.
Right.
And he was very influential with things we do now. He kind of came up with. There wasn't somebody to teach him. He kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just kind of modified some things. And, you know, as you time on the water experience, you can learn to get better.
Yeah.
So how many guides, I mean, now I can't even begin to imagine how many guides there are now, but... How many guides were there when your dad started back in 76, 72?
72. There was Charlie Rossi, Bob Sabatino.
Wow.
That was it, on Captiva?
On Captiva.
So Charlie Rossi, we had his grandson.
Ron. No, that was Andy Rossi's grandson.
Sorry, Andy Rossi's grandson.
Yeah.
Charlie Rossi was...
His dad.
His dad. Yeah. Okay. So you actually grew up on Captiva?
I grew up on Captiva. Yep, I grew up on Gore Lane.
All right, tell us what that was like. Everybody, I'm dying to know.
Oh, it was, you didn't know anything else I didn't really know anything different until I started going to school in Fort Myers. And then you had friends that would have, you know, birthday parties and do these things. And it was tough for me to do. My parents both worked. My dad was on the water all the time.
Yeah.
So it got a little bit lonely. So thank God I truly enjoyed fishing and being on the water.
Island life.
So that's all we did.
Yeah.
You know, that's all, especially me. I mean, like, there was only one or two other kids I always wanted to go fishing. They're like, oh, we want to go do other things. But, you know, so.
How many kids your age to hang about with on Captiva back then?
There was one.
One? Oh are they still around?
The Armenias, no, they moved away. Joey lives in upstate New York now.
Gotcha.
But his dad developed a lot. He developed Sanibel Harbor, the Hilton over here. His dad built that.
Okay.
There was some, when I was younger, you had the Rossis that lived out there. They were a couple years older. And the Triglis, Eric was my age. But what happened was, as the island grew and got more expensive, people got pushed
out. Yeah.
And eventually it's kind of what happened to my parents. You know, the cost of living just got ridiculous.
Yeah.
and they moved off the island in '92.
That's what, when we interviewed Ron Rossi last week, he said the same thing. It was the taxes that they were paying that they just couldn't afford.
See, back then, there was no homestead tax. So my parents, your house.
Oh, there wasn't? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So for a homestead tax, for those that don't know, is like there's a cap on the taxes that can be raised if you have a residence anywhere in Lee County. They can only increase it, I think it's 2% per annum. If you don't live in it, then it's basically the free for all. They can raise it as much as the property's worth every year. So year after year, those properties are going up in value, and you're just having your taxes are just going up and up and up.
Up and up. And when I was a kid, especially up until about the age of probably 11. There was so many kids on Sanibel and Captiva, and you had a lot of the workers that worked at South Seas. Their parents would live out here. Mm-hmm. They were like the Triglets. His dad was the bartender, and his mom, Kathy, answered the phones at South Seas. Well, they lived on Captiva. Well, eventually they get priced out.
Yes.
And you saw your friends moving away. Well, the Armenians, they could afford to live on Captiva. They moved there, and the only kids there, you become friends.
Right.
But Joey, who was 2 years younger than me, was our best friend, but he hated fishing.
Oh no.
Yeah. But what was nice is his dad loved fishing.
Gotcha.
So Joey wouldn't go, but his dad loved fishing offshore. So I fished almost every weekend offshore where my dad fished inshore. So I was able to kind of learn to figure out both.
Right.
And that's really helped me with my career. Where, a lot of people are specialized in one thing. Well, I kind of grew up doing everything. I was able to do both.
Just a quick message before we get back to the show. We put a ton of effort into bringing you quality content. So if you would like to help us share our love of the islands, here are several easy ways. Firstly, you can support us on Patreon. You could purchase an island souvenir from our Etsy store. You can metaphorically buy us a coffee, which is an easy way to donate a couple of bucks.
Don't you prefer tea?
Well, I do, kind of. Also, like and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with all things Sanibel and Captiva. And finally, show some love to our sponsors. Let them know we sent you. All the links are in the description below. Now, back to the episode. Well, that's awesome. And for those that don't know, this area is more particularly known for its inshore fishing and its back bay fishing. And so offshore, a lot of it has to do with the depth of the Gulf. You have to go a long way offshore, so economically it's not always viable to do offshore fishing. Just because of the cost to get out to those distances where you get the depth. Is that not right? But you've got inshore wrecks that you can go to and stuff.
Yes.
Well, not inshore, but close to.
We have a really good, what we call nearshore offshore fishery, but that's in the fall. The fish come in closer as the water cools off, with inside 8-9 miles.
Really?
But this time of year, you got to go far. But
far meaning
60
what?
miles, maybe?
Minimum 30 to 60 miles. But when I was a kid, like 30 miles was far. You didn't have the technology you have now.
Okay, the boat engines, I guess.
The boat engines, the boats, the step hulls. We were going out there in a single engine. I think how many times John, that was Joey's dad, John Armenia, and I did it.
And that's kind of scary on one engine?
I was too young.
You didn't know. Right.
Too young to even care or know the danger we were in, but we did it every weekend. And how we never got towed in or stuck out there because there were no sat phones or you had a VHF radio and you better hope somebody was listening. And
oh my!
So
God.
was it outboards that they would use for offshore? Or were they still using inboards?
No, he had a 26-foot Dusky with like a 200 Johnson outboard.
Wow. Johnsons were not known for their reliability back then.
No, not so much. And somehow we always made it in and out. And I mean, maybe it was just, I think God was watching out for us.
Oh, he had an extensive tool bag.
But now you go offshore, there's boats everywhere. We would go out there, you would never see anybody.
Really?
And never, ever. Like if you saw a boat, it was a commercial boat.
Wow.
Really?
And I know Nick is big into boating. We have a very...
Not so much into fishing.
Not so much into fishing.
Well, we like fishing. We just don't have much
catch anything.
Right. And our boat is very... but he saw you in the gas station once and he came home. He's like, oh my gosh, you should see Ozzie's
Oh, well, the funny thing is I've always been into cats, and I had a conversation with somebody, this skipper of a super yacht, about catamarans and how they, this he's an Australian guy. And I said, I've heard that they can be quite tippy and unstable. And he basically expletive told me to shut the up and said, you're absolutely insane. Look at every single beach rescue craft in Australia and you'll see their catamarans. He said, it's just about the way you use them and engine management and everything. So he got me right into them. And then there was the only thing with catamarans is they're pretty ugly, or they were historically pretty ugly. And then a boat that we all probably, anybody that's in the boat and probably recognises, the Freeman came out with a boat that was absolutely gorgeous, but not ideal for back bay and not ideal for everyday running. They sort of go from 30 feet up. I mean, the most typical one's about 42, I think. And then, so I'm in a gas station and I see this beautiful boat, and I took total attention to it because it's kind of shaped like a Freeman. It's a sexy sort of like catamaran, which is unheard of, especially in a smaller size. Was it 27 feet?
Yeah, 26 and a half feet.
26 and a half feet. So I wasn't even looking at Ozzie, and I knew Ozzie well, and I'm just looking at the boat. And then he walks around the corner. I'm like, man, is this your boat? And so that's the first time I saw it, but it's a very cool boat. And when did it come out?
Thank you. They came out in 2020, or maybe it was 2019. Mine's 2020. So 2019 is when they came out, because I have hull number 8.
Hull number 8.
Oh my gosh.
And it's so cool because it's a good looking boat, which is unusual in catamarans.
What kind of boat is it?
It's
a
Kayo, isn't it?
It's called it used to be called a Kayo, and now it's called Costa. They had 2 partners. The one partner bought the other one out, but the partner that was bought out, he owned the name Kayo because he made these small flat skiffs, and he wanted money for the name, and the other partner's like, I'm not paying for a name. The boat, I don't need the name to sell these boats. And so they changed names. And now when I got mine, there was like 15 ordered. Now it's a 3.5 year waiting list.
No way.
They've really taken off. Yeah.
So I'm sure the price has gone up exponentially with the waiting list.
It's literally double in 2 years from what I paid for it.
No way.
Yeah.
And how did you find out about it? Did you know somebody?
I was sponsored by Barker Boat Works, and I love my Barker, but I wanted a boat with twins so I could start doing a little bit more offshore. Not so much guiding as much, but more on my own. I want to do other things, and they had some financial problems at the time. And then I had a sponsor come on the boat, and we were talking a little bit, and I was trying to keep kind of quiet about what's going on with Barker, but he mentioned about this Kayo that was coming out, and his buddy JB was making it. And I said, really? And he goes, I'll put you in touch with him. So I called him up, kept everything quiet, didn't let anybody know because I still had the sponsorship with Barker Boat Works. And we started talking, and I gave him a deposit, but it was contingent upon the boat being completed and me taking a ride on it because they hadn't finished their first boat. I'd only seen the designs, and I told myself I would never own a cat because I was like you, Nick. I thought they were ugly. Yeah, I just was not a fan of them. But I got to fish off a Freeman one time in a grouper tournament, and it just changed the way I looked at them. And so it took about 6 months. My good friend Chris Magnano, who's a mechanic around here, him and I went up. I want him to look at the boat. We went up, test rode it. It was up in Tampa Bay. It was blowing 20, 25, incoming tide, and we were up by the Skyway Bridge. It was like stacked 3 foot, and we did 50 miles an hour through it. And then we went. And then I said, well, we got to make sure it floats shallow because I fished the back bay a lot, and I want to be able to get to my spot still. And we floated in like 15 inches of water. I'm like, keep the deposit.
15 inches, yeah. It doesn't get much better than that. And so how you can still use a trolling motor, obviously. Do you have to have?
Yeah, I have 2 trolling motors. I have one in the front, one and the transom. So I use the one in the transom when I'm working schools of tarpon or fishing docks. And then I use the one in the front basically for approaching on the flats, chasing schools of redfish and that type of stuff. Gotcha.
So does it do everything that a regular flats boat will do?
Not so much a flats boat, but a bay boat. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But the thing about the cat, what I didn't realize until I started fishing off, is how stable it is. Like, Nick, you and I are both bigger guys. We could walk to the side of the boat, and the boat doesn't move. Where any V-hull, it's going to lean to the side.
Yeah.
But with the way the sponsons are, and that keeps it's really stable. It's been amazing. I took the boat to the Bahamas last year, trailer to Fort Lauderdale, and we took it. I ran it 146 miles. There aren't too many bay boats you can do that with. And
Really?
We spent 10 days in the Bahamas out of it.
Oh,
No
cool.
way.
Yeah.
And it handles the big swells just fine. And
Yeah, I mean, granted, it's not going to do as good as a 40-footer, but yeah, and it
The
got.
size.
Yeah, I don't know if my wife will want to make the trip over again
Again?
because I told her it'll be fine, and we
Right.
planned it with the weather, and unfortunately, some bad weather hit us.
Right. You
But
just
so
can't.
4.5 hour trip turned into 6 hours, but it handled it fine. It just
was
you know,
uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable.
Right.
It got to 6 foot, and I don't care what boat you're in.
Yeah.
But it handled it.
Yeah,
so
handled it, yeah.
Now
You're just slowing down, basically.
Yeah, you don't want to go take it out in that on purpose.
Right.
But we made
If you're
it
caught
fine.
in it.
Well,
I
and the
guess.
other thing I've got to say is that this boat is no slouch either. I mean, I'm sure there's many options for different motors on it. You've got like twin 300s or something
Yeah,
on there.
you have to get twins because the way the sponsons are apart. But they start. You can. Well, when I first got it, I had 225s, and then I upgraded to 300s because I knew I was doing the trip to the Bahamas, and I was going with my buddies far offshore here. And with the 300s, if you have engine problems, you can get up on one engine.
Oh, you can? Do you have to
Yeah.
reprop it or no?
Yeah, you got to reprop it. You got to change
Okay.
props. But you can get on one engine like 38, 40 miles an hour.
No way.
So I knew I could get home or back if I had engine problems.
Wow, that's
Wow,
huge.
that is
Yeah, that's
Okay.
huge. And cats are obviously more economic to run as well.
It's very economical. And
Yeah.
Thank God with the price.
Thank
of fuel now.
goodness with that
Oh.
has got to be a hardship for all the fishing guides.
It
now.
is. To give you an idea, I was spending 2 years ago about $600 a week in fuel, and that's running 6 days a week. And right now I'm averaging about $1,300 a
Wow,
week.
No
more than
way.
double.
More than double.
More than double. Yeah.
Christ.
So when
Wow.
you see
And you
the,
can only go up so much in your cost because people are going to
only pay so much.
to
Yeah.
go fishing. So it's kind of you kind of now the fishing's good. You try to limit where you're running. You try to do it, but the fishing's tough. You gotta put your people on fish. So I'm running farther and doing things to
Yeah.
get them on fish, and you can't look at what your profit margin is. You got to still because. You can't look at the trip. I've always looked at. You can't look at a charter as this is one time they're out. You got to look at. I want these people for 10 years. So you got to
Gotcha.
do
That's a
what
good
you
way
can.
to look at it.
And sometimes it doesn't always work. But if you do everything in your possibility to put them on fish, and you're not just looking at the profit, you're going to
repeat
make
customers.
You're going to make more money in the long run, and you're going to have customers for life.
Right, and they recommend you to other people, and on and on. That's
Exactly.
a great way to look at it.
It's worked out. I haven't advertised in probably 16 years.
Oh wow!
16 years, and what's your bookings during season? You're just booked for weeks out, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. To give you an idea, I'm almost already sold out for April, May, and June of next year.
Of next year.
No
Next
way.
year. I still have openings for that time period, but I think I got between those 3 months, I got like 15 days.
Wow.
No way.
So if somebody wants to find you, how would they go about finding your number and how to
The
contact
best
you?
way is just my email or my cell phone. That's I don't use a website.
What's your email?
My email is bayfischer, BAYFISCHER @comcast.net.
Make sure it's FISCHER.
Yeah, I gotta
People
have
mix that one up.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
and
gotta
then
have
your
the
cell
same.
number.
It's 239-872-8515.
One more time.
239-872-8515.
And as always, we'll put it in the description below, but that's just for
I
those people
appreciate
that are listening.
Right.
Yeah,
wanna-
so go on, Max.
I want to know about fishing. What is your favorite fish to go after?
The ones that are biting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get asked that
I'm
all
sure you do.
I bet you
all-
do.
all the time on charters. Honestly, it changes for the seasons. Like right now, I'm kind of burnt out on tarpon. I'm kind of ready for a change because I've been doing it for 3 months.
So tarpon, just explain, what's the season on tarpon?
Tarpon typically starts near the middle of April and lasts up to about right now. I got a tarpon yesterday, but it's really thinning out.
Yeah. And
But-
explain why, to people that don't know, why are tarpon so fun to catch? All that little.
Yeah, well, it's probably one of the best game fish in the world. Average fish here are big. Their average is about 100 pounds. We do it all in spinning tackle, a lot of sight fishing. I mean, it's not something where you typically type of fishing where it's action fishing. You're hunting them. I mean, if you land a tarpon, that's considered successful. One tarpon. I mean, any other fish, that's kind of garbage fishing. But with tarpon, You got to have patience. Just because you get on them does not mean they're going to eat. And that's probably why at the end of the season I'm so fed up with them, because there's so many times you find fish and you can't get them to eat, and you're doing everything you can, so they can get a little frustrated.
They're just playing with you.
And just to be clear, you can't eat them. But
No.
So to me, that's kind of, I can see the appeal of catching them because they do leap out the air. I think Laurie knows a bit more about it than I do, but I think that was the first sport fishing.
Yeah, it's really what brought a ton of fishermen here from up north. Somebody caught a tarpon on a rod and reel.
In the late 1800s, was it?
Yeah, if you go up to, you ever get a chance, go to USEPA, go to the Tarpon Museum. It's really neat.
Yeah.
So tarpon fishing started in Boca Grande, and what people would do is they would stay at USEPA, and they would have a steamboat that would pull rowboats to the pass, and then your guide would get in there and row against the current.
Oh, wow.
No way.
Yeah. But what's neat is funny, if you look at the pictures up there, only the ultra wealthy, like the Rockefellers and all that, could go and afford to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So the people would wear their finest clothing.
Yes, they're like
three-piece suits.
Three-piece suit.
Yeah.
But if you think about tarpon, when they're here is in the summertime, so they're out in 90-degree heat in a three-piece, and they're, the clothes back there did not breathe like they did now.
Wool.
It's gotta be awful. I always wondered why they were never smiling in the pictures. Now I know why.
Absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
USEPA is it's a little island. It has 115 private homes, I think, and in the bar there's little plaques with tarpon
We've been there a
scales.
million times. We do a lot of real estate photography there, but we've never been in that. We actually were there a couple of weeks ago, and we were like, we got to go in the museum because it had been closed down all through COVID.
Yeah.
And we just ran out of time. We had to book out there because the weather was turning bad.
Definitely worth
What's neat in there too, you don't have to go to the Tarpon Museum to see it. They have the scale. So it used to be tradition when you would catch a tarpon, you would take a scale off as a souvenir.
And they're big. Their scales are.
Oh yeah, they're like if you get a big tarpon, they're probably 6-7 inches around.
Oh
maybe more.
I didn't realize that big.
Yeah, and they have nails in them on the wall up there with the date and the size of the fish.
And people have signed it.
And you could tell like when you start looking at the weights of the fish they had on there, and it's pretty neat.
It is very cool. I love it up there.
What's your record tarpon?
My record is the only reason I know, there's a formula you can use to when you take a measurement of a fish, the girth times the length, and this guy mounted it. His name was Craig Niederhaus, who actually has a house on Captiva. He got one with me, and he mounted it, and it was 225 pounds.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
But in tarpon tournaments, I've weighed 2 tarpon over 200 pounds. The biggest one I weighed in a tournament was 208.
208.
208.
That's crazy. And how long is that? Like 6 feet?
No, it's a little over 7 feet.
Is it really?
Holy
Yeah.
Yeah. They're incredible creatures. I mean, we've seen them a lot diving, scuba diving, and they're so peaceful underwater and just like they're so tranquil. But I guess once they start getting into
they're really a prehistoric fish. Like that fish we caught that was 208, that fish is probably 60 years old.
Really?
Yeah. And the reason you see them when you're sitting on the beach is going down the beach, you'll see them gulping air, like rolling like a dolphin, is they have one lung. Now they can't live out of the water, but they have to at some point come and gulp some air for their swim bladder.
Oh, they do?
So that's why people look for them rolling, and that's how you find them.
All right, so favorite fish to eat then?
My favorite fish to eat is probably snappers. Any fish in the snapper? Any fish in the snapper family. Grouper are great.
Yeah.
But I would say probably any snapper.
And you're not sick of fish?
Oh, I'm sick of fish.
Okay.
So growing up as a kid, right, when times were tough, you're
eating fish. Yeah.
And we ate a lot of fish. We would have fish minimum 3, sometimes 5 times a week.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
And my dad still to this day loves fish that much. So he just loved eating fish. And we'd be like, really? Fish
again?
But now looking back and you raise a family, you see why we did that.
Yeah.
But so my wife begs me to bring fish home. And I just don't have, like when I go offshore with my buddies or something, I'll bring some snapper home.
Right.
but I never freeze a fish, or we don't have any fish in our house.
Really?
Yeah. People come over and like friends
Where's
like,
the
you don't have
fish?"
any extra fish? I'm like, I don't keep any.
You don't ever have any like frozen tilapia from the supermarket?
Yeah, there's no fish sticks.
That's so funny. It puts it in perspective, though. I read a book about Alcatraz, and back in the day, they used to. Their main diet was lobster, where they would put traps all around the island.
Okay.
And one of the biggest complaints of all the inmates was lobster. Not lobster again. Not lobster. And it's just like, really? You can get sick of lobster, but yeah, you can.
Yeah, I mean, I've had fish every way you can do it. Even when we go to a restaurant, my wife even knows. I don't even want to hear the fish special. I'm not going to order it.
Like, la, la, la.
My wife is Dina. She works at she runs the Chico's. She's been on Sanibel working out there for 32 years.
Yes.
But whenever we go out, she'll almost always order fish.
Really?
She doesn't even offer me a bite. It's like, it's not like I don't like it. It's just
right.
like.
I can see why.
I was
I can
abused
definitely see why.
as a kid eating fish. So.
That's awesome. Yeah. So back to your wife, Dina. She's amazing. She's so friendly, so fun, and definitely go say hi to her if you're ever here. She works at the original Chico's, and
always got.
And
a nice smile.
And she loves to fish, and she's lucky too.
oh, she's good at fishing.
The first date we ever, well, I wouldn't say the first date, but the first time I took her fishing, right? I was just gonna start guiding, and the first snook she ever caught was 22 pounds. If anybody knows anything about snook,
right?
That's it. People fish a lifetime.
monster.
That was her first cast. She was like, "Is this a big one?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Right. I'm marrying you.
I mean, she was lucky. She's always been that way.
Yeah,
that's
she's
funny.
super friendly.
So, do you ever have no fish days? I mean, is there? I mean, I'm sure you
Never, ever,
Never,
have
ever.
The only reason I was asking, like, when you get to Tarpon, is there a certain point where you say, "Listen, they're not biting. We're booking out of here"?
Yeah. If I'm to get skunked, it's
Oh, is that what
tarpon.
you call it? Get skunked?
Skunked, or it's
Fishing
I'll
lingo.
look at people and like, listen, it's not happening. But you have guys that want tarpon. I mean, I had 3 days in a row last year. We did not land a tarpon. We hooked a couple, but we only have one bite each day. But in those 3 days, I was probably on more tarpon at any point of the year. The one day we were probably on over 5,000 tarpon. I'd find a school.
Way.
They were not interested in eating. See, when they come here, it's a pre-spawning ritual. They come here to feed, and they go out in the Gulf of Mexico to spawn. Well, they're thinking about spawning, and it does not matter how good you are, what bait you have. They don't want to eat. There's nothing you can do to get them to eat. But,
So they're getting ready. So they're fattening up, so to speak, to head out and spawn.
but they'll get in these big groups to get ready to go out in the Gulf and spawn. So sometimes they're not thinking about eating. They're thinking about, I need to get with her.
Oh, okay. I see.
Her and her and her.
Right. A typical man brain. I know.
So it can be very frustrating. I'd almost sometimes not see him and just go do something different than be on that many fish. But you never know. It could be any cast. My dad used to say this phrase, and it's so true. I say it to all my charters. The only thing predictable about tarpon is they're 100% unpredictable.
Okay.
And that's what people like get this tarpon craze. It's not like snook. That's probably, you asked me earlier what my favorite fish. That's probably my true passion is snook fishing. Like I can pretty much 90% of the time, if I have a fine big snook, I can get them to eat. I can figure out a way. I know enough tricks where a lot of people can't. I've done it enough. I can get one or two to eat.
Right.
We might not catch them. A tarpon, it's just
There's no rhyme or reason.
There's no rhyme or
You're
reason,
not going to
yeah.
bend them. Yeah. That's so
Interesting.
funny.
So your snook is like all reliable. Like you think you can get it.
For Ozzie. He can get
at
it.
times. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's probably my, if I had one fish I could only fish for, it'd probably be snook still. But I can I'm pretty good at, I can figure them out.
Is the season open back up on snook? Or
No, it's still not. Redfish and snook is still closed. They're still trying to rebuild the stocks.
Are you seeing greater numbers now or not?
I'm seeing numbers, like, I still think they should keep it closed. And the reason for it,
It's because you don't eat fish.
Well, yeah, right. Yeah, true.
And you're a fishing guide.
No, the biggest reason I think we should keep it closed is there's so many people in the water now. And I think that I'm seeing numbers close to before we were at 2018, but the amount of people on the water now is probably tripled.
Right.
And
Really?
Yeah.
Even since the pandemic?
I think it's because of the pandemic.
It used to be crazy on the water on weekends. It doesn't matter what day of the week you're out. There's boats everywhere. And people fishing everywhere. I think what happened with the pandemic is you had people that didn't do much outside, and the only thing you could do was outside. So they started taking their boat out and fishing. They're like, wow, this is pretty great. You know,
we live in a great place.
Yeah,
right.
they didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So now everybody, and that's also why the price of boats.
Right, boat sales went through the roof, didn't they?
Yeah, a used boat now, like people tell me I got a 2016. You can sell a 2016 boat for what you paid for it.
In 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
Absolutely
nuts.
ridiculous. Yeah.
So that's the reason why I think if we're going to maintain our fishery, the amount of people we have, you have to have these super tight restrictions.
Right.
And if you're going to open it up, I've had meetings with FWC and like, if you're going to open up for a season and then keep it closed for 2 more seasons and then open it up. And then if you're going to open up redfish, have snook closed and open up redfish for 3 months, then open up snook for 3 months and then keep it closed for another year.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you'd say that. And I think it's great that you would have that mentality towards it, because I think, like build it up until it's a solid, unbreakable stock, rather than...
I don't think we'll ever get to where it was, and I know it won't.
Just for those that don't know, what was the decline in the species?
Oh, God. To give you an idea, this is being very conservative. I would say from February to June, I would catch on my charters 3,000 snook. That's being conservative. I kept, after the red tide, from February to June, and after 18, I caught 18 tarpon. 18 snook.
Wow.
You're kidding.
18 snook.
You're
Just
kidding.
it was red tide that
So
just
it's red-
killed.
They killed that many.
Yeah.
Wow.
But as many as it killed, I don't think our snook fishery has ever been the same since 2010 when we had that major freeze.
Right,
That
we
did
had a
more-
big
that
cold
killed
spot. Yeah.
That did not kill the redfish and the trout, but what still to this day where I used to go and see snook, I still don't see them there since
You're kidding.
2010. Yep.
Even 12 years later.
Yeah, there used to
Wow.
be areas that they would get that they say snook go the same spots every year, right? So we wiped out a whole generation of fish in that 2010. That this new generation, they don't go there. They go to different spots where you had this this school of fish that would go to these same spots year after year. There was that many wiped out. Those schools that went there,
No longer.
then it doesn't happen.
So maybe it lost that chain of,
It did.
Yeah.
that chain of mum showing the kids where to go. And
And the other thing with snook, people don't realize, they don't migrate in. So you have to have the fish here doing the reproducing. And the other thing is, snook grow very slow, right? They're all born males, and they turn to females at about 27 inches. Yep.
That is so bizarre.
it's
Isn't
so
it?
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all
bizarre.
Caitlyn Jenners.
Weird.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what size
So
can you pay? What size can you catch
The
them when they
restrictions
do
have
it?
always been weird, haven't they? They've always been for that reason.
So when it is open, it's
Open, yeah.
28 to 33. And that's another thing we've been meeting with the FWC. If you open it, I think you have the wrong size limit you're taking, because you are killing these fish just right when they begin spawning. The suggestion I've made and several other guides have made is make it 33 to 36 inches in one fish per boat. But a 33-inch snook, that's a 10 to 12-pound snook, that's going to feed a lot of people.
Right.
And it's gone through a lot of spawning cycles. They've created a lot of babies. Yeah. And then it's not when they're just maybe done one spawn, we're taking them. Because you're going to have that generation of fish taken out. And the other thing is people don't realize, if you only have small fish doing the reproducing, you will change a gene pool.
Right.
It's like parents. If you have 2 short people
I see what you're saying.
having kids,
right.
and they have...
Yeah.
They're going to have nothing but short children.
Huh.
But if you take snook and you only have like it's 26 to 28 inches doing it, eventually you're going to change the gene pool.
Wow.
So that way you have way more bigger fish doing it. So those fish will grow up to be big. Not saying they're going to get big because they might get taken or something, but at least
more likelihood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So that's nice that you are working with or I guess you go into the
we have these meetings. Now they're not very good listeners.
Okay.
I was going to say, are they reactive to the advice?
I will say, since Ron DeSantis is coming in, he got rid of the old group and the new group that's in there. We've got the best communication we've ever had.
That's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of old school thinking they got rid of, and they brought these new guys in. Now, I'm not saying they're still the best listeners,
right?
But we've had several meetings, and they've listened, which is
good.
Before they didn't hear. They did not. I stopped going to the meetings and meeting with them because it was just a waste of time.
Right, frustrating to you because you're out on the water and they're behind their desks.
And they're saying, well, our biologists are saying this. And I'm like, okay, could your biologist ever go catch me a snook or a redfish or go show me where they're going to be?
Yeah.
You're looking at numbers. I'm out there every day. I've done it my entire life, and I see them. I can tell you. I can go show you where they should be, where they are. Your guys
and where they're not. Yeah.
And where they're not.
Yeah.
And so why would you not use us as resources?
Yeah.
And they're finally starting to do that some, which is nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah.
So do you say 6 days a week? Do you always take Sundays off or?
Yeah, I'm 50 now. I've been doing this 26 years full time. So I am definitely I try to at least take one day off a week. I'm actually I've been taking more Saturdays off because it's so crazy on the water.
Oh, yeah.
And then working on Sundays. But when I was younger, just even 5 years ago, during tarpon season, I might take 1 day off, 2 days off, in 2 months.
Really?
I just can't work at that pace anymore. And plus, I found that my wife has told me I'm not as pleasant to live with when I do that. So,
do you take more time off in the summer? Do you have will you take just do 4 days a week or something, or you still take?
No, what I do in the summer is start in July and August. Most of my charters are 6 hours. I'll leave at 6 in the morning and I'm done by noon.
Right.
It's funny. When I first started guiding, my dad, he was complaining about the heat one day. And I'm like, man, I love the heat. He goes, trust me, when you get older, it's going to bother you more. I'm like, no, yeah, right, Dad.
Yeah, you're old fogey.
You boomer.
And as I got older, boy, was he right. Of course, as your parents are,
most of the time.
Things,
less of that, Max.
But
I don't believe it.
Yeah. So last 5 years, I started doing it, not working in the afternoons, July and August, and it's one of the best things I've done.
I bet.
And so you're off the water by 12.
And
yeah,
you
12. I just can't do it. The rest of the year I'm doing it, but just it's so hot.
Yeah.
Right.
And
you're avoiding those afternoon showers too.
Exactly.
The storms that pop up in the afternoon too.
Yeah, it's better fishing early. It's now charters aren't always thrilled that you're telling them, meet me at the dock at 6 a.m.
That's tough.
But I'm like, listen, you're going to beat the heat. You can beat the rain. Fishing's better. There's nobody on the water yet.
Yeah.
We'll get a couple hours of fishing and with not a lot of boats on there. And the people that have been fishing with me over the years are like, man, you're really right. Wow.
Right.
8 o'clock, they come out like bees with all the boats. I'm
yeah.
like, yeah.
And it is. I mean, if you ever have a chance to get up at sunrise, it's the
best time to be on the water.
I would much rather watch a sunrise than sunset.
They're both pretty good. Most of us boating is sunset, but
right.
But we're not fighting with the traffic either, and we're not trying to fish.
No, sunsets are awesome, but it's funny. My wife tries to get me to go watch sunset, and I'm like, "Hun, I've seen the sunrise every day this week. I don't need to see it go down."
Oh my god!
I mean, yeah, that's no different than you, Dad. You've been seeing every sunset for the last 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
Taking pictures on the
every
beach.
single night
on the beach.
out on the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Laurie will do the same. Should we go to the beach? No.
All right, I want to know about sunscreen. What do you? Any recommendations? And bug spray.
Yeah, bug spray.
I'm sure everybody asks you.
I don't even use it because
You're immune to it.
I'm kind of immune to it, but I keep just some Skin So Soft in the boat and all that. Sunscreen, the best stuff I've found is Ocean Potion.
Ocean Potion.
Now the stores really sell it here anymore. We got to get on Amazon. The one thing I will tell everybody, stop using spray sunscreen. The stuff is not good for you.
I've heard that.
Really? Yeah.
Is it what? Does the aerosol for your lungs or for the environment?
Give you an idea. If someone sprays spray sunscreen on my boat. For one, all my cushions, it stains your cushions. You can't get out, and it'll stain your fiberglass. And I had a guy one time bring a thing of spray sunscreen on the boat. He had a Ziploc bag. This is now with the old flip phones, and he had it with his phone in a Ziploc, and somehow in the compartment it started spraying. It melted his phone.
You're kidding?
No.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, I have heard that.
And I see all these parents spraying them in their kids, and I get it. It's easier to do. The stuff is not good for your skin, and I'm not a doctor, but if I had to
play one on TV.
I play one on the boat. That it definitely contributes to skin cancer.
Okay.
That's what I've heard. There's tons and tons of chemicals in the spray that you just don't want on your skin.
You don't. In Hawaii, they're trying to ban it because they're finding it's killing the reefs.
Yeah, really? And if it kills the reefs, that's what I saw TikTok or something. It's like if it's killing the reefs, it's probably not good for you.
Oh, it turns fiberglass orange. Now
fiberglass is tough as boots.
Yeah, we get orange stains in our fiberglass just from our water from the tannic acid, but you spray like a rust spray on it and it goes right away.
You can't get rid of it.
Nothing gets rid of it.
Really?
The only thing it gets rid of is the sun bleaching it out after like 5 days. It gets rid of it. So that can't be good for your skin if it's doing that.
That's a good PSA.
Do you ban people from using spray sunscreen on your boat?
I don't. But I definitely voice my opinion about it. But there's sometimes people, I'd keep an extra thing of sunscreen on the boat for people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, listen, you shouldn't use that. But they're like, no, this is what we use. I'm not going to get an argument.
Right.
It's your kids. But I definitely voice my opinion about it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Good to know.
I don't think it doesn't even last as long either. You spray it, and like 3 sprays, it's gone. So compared to the lotion, so. Ocean Potion, everybody.
Ocean Potion sunscreen.
Check it out.
Ocean Potion. Order some up, Max.
And then Skin So Soft for the bugs.
That's what we used to use. Or there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I know.
The one you want to find or anything that says for no-see-ums. The mosquitoes are like...
They're not really a problem, are they?
They're not really a problem as much as they spray for them. It's no-see-ums that bother everybody. They're the ones that give everybody the welts and everything else.
And if you're offshore, it's not that bad, is it?
Never.
Nothing.
Never. And the other thing is, you don't have to worry about no-see-ums if we have a breeze, right?
Yeah.
So people go down to sunset and they're like, oh, the bugs. Well, if you have a sea breeze, you're not going to have bugs. Mm-hmm. It's when you look out there, it's slick calm, you got to put something on. That's when they're going to come out.
That's true.
So if you there's a good breeze blowing on you, you don't need to put bug spray on.
Yeah.
All right.
But
cool.
Wow.
Yeah. The biggest problem I have with it is it getting in my eyes and being a photographer.
What, the sunscreen?
The sunscreen. Yeah.
that's why. So that's why I use the Ocean Potion.
Really?
The Ocean Potion does not get in your eyes, because that's what happened to me, because I do a lot of sight fishing. Trying to look for the fish, and I'd have sunscreen, and once you get in your eyes, you can't get out. Your eyes are burning.
Right.
Yeah, the Ocean Potion, it comes in a blue bottle. Get the 50. When you put it on your skin, it absorbs it right away, and it does not get in your eyes.
Right. I will order some today because I've been looking for that perfect sunscreen.
Yeah.
So give us an idea of different times of the year. What times of year are good for certain species?
Yeah. The best time of year to fish here, if I had to pick a time, would be in the fall, September, October, November. We have every species of fish here. But typically our pattern is the wintertime, the water cools off, the fish, we do a lot of fishing, we call near shore, between 2 to 8 miles offshore. You get a lot of snapper, gag grouper, you get kingfish, cobia, you get a lot of different fish. And it starts warming up a little bit. That's the groupers start pushing out, but you get more cobia, permit, that stuff coming offshore. Inshore, then we'll start targeting snook, trout, and redfish. Get a lot of trout in the wintertime when the water's cooler, some redfish. The snook, when the water gets cool and it gets below 65, what we get from these cold fronts, the snook get very difficult to catch.
Really?
Yeah, they're a subtropical fish. That's why really you only get them in up to about Tampa or Newport Richey, Florida. Once if it gets too cold,
far north.
Yeah, they stay south. So you have to wait till you have more consistent warm weather. It all depends on the winters. The last couple of winters have been kind of cool here, so the snook fishing hasn't really picked up till about mid-March, and then March and April's, snook. You have everything here. March and April can be almost as good as the fall, but you have so many people here.
Yeah, it's this big busy time of season.
I tell I tell a lot of my customers, if your kids have gotten older, if you want to come here in October, November.
We always say the same thing.
It's beautiful
it's
here
the best time of the year without all the people.
Yeah, we keep telling everybody that we're going to create more traffic.
I know. We should be quiet because it's the best time for the locals.
Yeah, but and then as it starts warming up a little bit and you start getting into April and you get more consistent, you get away from the cold fronts, that's when the tarpon start coming in. And then we start gearing towards the tarpon in about in fact, starting about the end of mid-April, I only fish for tarpon. I used to do everything, but now, right, so...
You just got a name for it?
I just say, if you want to come then, and we're tarpon fishing. And now I said, if the tarpon aren't biting, and I will take you to do other things. I'll take you permit fishing or snook fishing, but we're booking it as a tarpon trip. But there's other guys here, they still do everything. They fish for the trout. It's a really good time to catch trout here. They're spawning then.
On the grass flats?
In the grass flat, and they get on the beaches.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, in April and May, the trout get on the beach to spawn. They're like snook. Our snook come to the passes and beaches to spawn in the summertime. That's why if you walk the beaches this time of year, you'll see all the snook going up and down the beach. They're out there to spawn.
Gotcha. So if you're in the middle of, say you're in those colder months in January, February, and it turns cold, is there a de facto, like, do you go to another species if the snook and redfish aren't biting?
Yeah, so sometimes all you can do is trout fish. And we don't have a lot of bait then, so that's why we use shrimp, which is nice.
Oh, you do?
Don't throw the cast net. But a lot of times when it's cold like that, you're almost better off throwing an artificial lure.
Really?
Yeah, you get a reaction strike out of them.
Really? So just keep casting
and you're throwing over the grass flats. If it gets really cold, you want to find the deeper troughs. They'll fall into those to find the warmer water. But or you go to around the docks, you get the sheep's head. That's why you see that's real popular here in the wintertime.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't sheephead fish as much because they just such bait stealers and it drives me. I mean, it drives me crazy. But
they'll pick the bait off.
Yeah, and you have people that fish very, very much, and you're trying to tell them what to feel for. Now, if they can fish, they'll feel the bite, but if not, it's just
you're like constantly rebaiting their hook.
They're like, I didn't feel nothing. I'm like, oh,
sound like somebody we know. We were stayed on the island a couple of.
We're gonna admit to this.
No, should we?
Yes.
So we were fishing the passes about a month ago, and we were just drift fishing through there, and we kept losing the bait and everything. But it's funny because when we came back, we didn't get. I think we got a couple of bites, and I pulled up a small grouper. But
small is an understatement.
Oh wow, it was
the smallest grouper I've ever seen.
It was still a grouper. And then we came back, and we're going through by Grandma Dot's there, and there's sheep's head everywhere.
Yeah. I will give you a tip: don't use shrimp in the summertime.
Really?
There's too many little critters. There's too many fish. There's too many bait fish. Most time, it's what's eating is like pinfish and grunts.
Oh, is it? So they're just nibbling it off the hook.
Yeah. So you want to use like a pilcher, a pinfish, or a pigfish.
Yeah, I will pay you triple to take these guys fishing. They have fished.
We spent 4 hours that day and didn't see a single fish.
How many times have you fished? You haven't caught one thing.
I'm not going to mention his name for fear of embarrassing him, but his good friend his father was a long-time fishing guide.
Captain Mike Fury.
No.
I wasn't going to mention him.
Yeah, Mike's son is a good friend of mine.
And he went, I'm coming on your boat and we're catching fish. What happened to that, Tom?
Yeah, didn't catch a single thing.
But you guys haven't caught anything.
Yeah, Mike Fury.
All right,
Fury got here a long time, but he got more into doing shelling trips.
Yeah,
it wasn't so much fishing.
Yeah, he went away from the fishing.
Yeah, when I started guiding, he wasn't even fishing at all. He was just taking shelling trips.
Right.
Really? Yeah. He's written a few books.
But yeah, I think he started in like 1970.
He might have been here with my dad. But he was never like a hardcore fisherman. Like my dad was about as hardcore as it came.
Really?
We've heard stories.
Does he still go?
No, my dad's retired 10 years ago. Or it might be 12 years ago. I can't remember. 10 or 12. And him and my mom bought a RV campground up in Vermont. And
really?
They wanted something for retirement.
And so different.
And they were going back and forth. And summertime they'd be up there and wintertime here. And then they just kind of fell in love with it. So my dad, they did the opposite of what most people did. They moved to upstate Vermont.
Oh my God.
Most people moved down to the south.
Right, but he had enough.
Yeah.
He's had his fill.
And they're up by the Canadian border, and it gets cold.
It's probably
cold.
Funnily enough, me and Tom Fury went to Vermont like over like in February, and is the coldest weather I've ever experienced in my life.
Tom has never ever seen snow. He's 23 years old. He'd never seen snow. And Max took him to Vermont for his first snow.
Yeah, we went snowboarding.
I think
Florida boys.
Nice.
Yeah. That was fun.
So
did not enjoy the weather.
What's your parents' RV resort? We'll give them a shout out.
Well, they sold it this past year.
Oh, they did. Okay. Yep. I was going to give them a shout out.
It was on Lake Willoughby. Yeah, it's still, if you want to go up there, it's beautiful. It overlooks Lake Willoughby. It's beautiful. It looks like a postcard every night with the sunset.
Wow.
You know, you have these 2 glaciers. It's a glacier lake, so it's really deep. So you have these mountains that come down the side, you know, like where the glaciers used to be.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. But
did your dad do ice fishing?
No.
No.
He was probably overfishing.
My dad, I think my dad, when he was up there all of 10 years, fished one time.
One time.
Really?
Yeah.
I can see.
And it might have been, he just was not, I don't know. My dad, was so into fishing. And if we did a vacation, it was involved around fishing.
Fishing, really?
Yeah, but at the end, he's like, he even said when he'll come down, we go on the boat for a day, and he goes, I thought I'd miss it. I just don't. Yeah.
He's got every right to say that after being on the water for 4 years.
But also, it changed so much here, I tell this story to people, like, when I first started guiding in 1996, my dad, it's like, I always knew you'd be a guide, and I'm really happy you're doing it. Even though my parents pushed me not to be a guide,
right, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's in your blood.
We went to private schools and all that, and I was like, listen, I want to be a guide. So when I started guiding, he put his arm around me. He's like, man, I just really wish you could have seen how good it was. It used to be. It's really declined. I look back now. 1996 was so the fishing. My dad and I had this conversation the other day on the phone. It's like, it was so good. And I said, Dad, when I first started guiding, it was so good. It was easy.
Right.
And I'm 3 times the fisherman, if not 4 times the fisherman now, because I have to work so much harder than I did when I first started guiding to catch fish. I used to keep a journal when I guided for the first 5 years, and I'll every now and then go back and look at that journal.
I'd love to see it.
I would say, average trip, 20 snook, 15 redfish. If I do that now, that's a great trip. You
need to start that journal again, just so that you can go back. That would be an important document to do.
It's just so depressing now. We still have banner trips and all that, but it just it seems like they become fewer and harder. Mm-hmm. When I first, it was so easy, but also when I started guiding, you had a group of guides here. Like when I came in, it was me, Jimmy Burnshead, Randy Eastfold, and Tim Hickey. We all started, and Ozzie Lessender. We all started around 1996, 95, all in that same time period. And we were the first new guides to come in a long time.
Right.
And luckily for me, growing up on the water, I've had my own boat since I was 12. I was already kind of taken in. But you had to really earn your stripes with these guys. You never fished where you saw my dad or one of these other guys fishing. It was it was unwritten. You did not go fish those spots. So I had to go find my own spot, which actually helped me. And that's probably why
forced you to find.
I became so good. But I would do is, on my days off, when I wasn't working, I would go look for new spots. I never went to where I was catching fish. I wanted to figure everything out.
Wow.
Now, there's so many guides. Like, we had yesterday, a guy pull up to me and people were like, who are them? Like, I have no idea. There's so many guides and none of them do that respect that we used to have. Or
that's sad, yeah.
There it's all now is, I've seen Ozzie Fischer right there.
I'm going there.
I'm going to beat him there tomorrow. I've seen Corey McGuire there. I'm going to go there. It's all about,
that's not cool.
I have to get on it. There's that respect that it's changed. Which is like in everything, and it's changed. Yeah. And everything now.
Yeah.
You can't let it bother you. But going back to my dad, I think that's what he had such a hard time with. Mm-hmm. It just became harder. How many guides were on the water? Nobody showing the respect. Like my dad was like, even guys now, if you talk to Jim Burnshead or anything about my dad, they're like, he was the man. And people if you saw my dad at a spot, they just respected it, but yeah. My dad was the first to help you. and do everything. But he's also, I mean, he was probably the first to yell at you too. He let you know. I mean, he was,
right.
But people had so much respect for him and do it. And I tried, my dad would try to tell stories to some of these younger guys and nobody even cared. It was all about, themselves.
Just getting on.
Just getting on. So I think that was part of it. Why when he says that, I don't miss it. I see why.
So if you're a young guy starting out here, take the words of wisdom here and show a little bit of respect to these guys that have been around for a while.
It's like their dues. It'd be like a photographer. You've been at it a long time.
Yeah.
And him trying to move in on your clients right away, like no, man. You got to show some respect. And these guys, it's about get your business, do this, do that. Which I get, they need business, but there's certain ways
to go about it.
Hey, you know what they could do is start fishing the competitions like you've always done and start winning them, and then they'll get their own clients. But I mean, you can always show. You've risen to the top from your fishing ability. And you said you've never advertised in that, and that's I wouldn't, from an outsider's perspective, I wouldn't worry too much because your name, it comes out everywhere you go.
Yeah, I'm not worried about my business or anything like that, and I've just learned to accept. It used to bother me. I'm like, it's just the way it is now.
Right.
Like if I'm on fish, I actually have to pick sometimes when I'm going to go there because I don't want other certain guys to see it. But sometimes you're struggling. You got to go to that spot. I can get on a spot for a day or two. If a boat sees you, they're gonna be there. It's just, it's just the way it is.
Just the way it is.
And so you got to learn to adapt. You can't let it bother you. You can't complain about it. It doesn't matter with your customers. Doesn't matter how much, you caught fish the day before. You need to produce for them. So you be positive and you move on to something else.
So what about thinking about, obviously, if you want to fish the waters down there, go with a professional. But if you're a guy with these kids and he's just, last night I had some customers down at Surfside, and they had the big old poles out, and they obviously bought everything. They had the fly fishing and everything. What would you recommend to get them started if they just want to fish from the beach? Is there
the beach? Probably shrimp. Everything eats shrimp. Don't use frozen shrimp because it's not going to stay in the hook. All these plates sell frozen shrimp. You're just wasting your time. Really? Yeah, it's going to fall off the hook. The catfish are going to eat it. You need at least the shrimp, unfortunately, in the summertime are small because they catch them in the bay. In the wintertime, they're bigger. But if not, if you can cast, you get like some gulp shrimp or a paddle tail. The biggest mistake I see people fishing from shore is they're all trying to throw out as far as they can.
Right. This guy had long rods.
Because that's what you're doing up in the Northeast, the stripers and everything else. Right. Well, there are fish are close to the beach.
Oh really?
I always tell
they're in the troughs?
They're in the troughs.
Right.
So that's where the bait is. You want to fish parallel. And you want to fish, cast down those troughs, working it back, especially a lure. But I can't tell you how many times we fished the beaches a lot for snook. You get some guy, he's up to his armpit, and all he was saying, I'm like, you're standing on the fish. And they look at you like you're just being a jerk or crazy. I'm like, I'm just trying to help you. You're standing on the fish.
Oh my gosh.
So if I could give one word of advice is, fish parallel to the shore, especially from the beaches, and pay attention. Watch the birds, watch bait. If you're not seeing any bait or any movement, and the water's clear, you're not seeing a fish, you need to walk farther down the beach. They're not there.
Just move. Right.
Just move. And also, there's a lot of information on the internet. You can get so much. You could learn. Yeah. Also go into like Whitney's, talk to the guys.
Yeah, Whitney's the local fishing shop here.
Tackle shop or the bait box. Most of those guys that work in there, fishermen, they're not going to tell you exactly where to go, but if you ask, say, what pound leader should I be using? What size jig head?
At least give you a fighting chance to get going.
The biggest problem is most people over tackle too. You're fishing off the beach. You really don't want to use anything heavier than 40-pound leader. I'd recommend 20 to 30 pound. Really? The water's cleaner. You want to stay away from the ready rigs. That's
why is that?
Because
they're visible.
They're visible. Yeah, it's cable. You want to use you want to get kind of stealthy. You want to use the least amount of weight you can use to get your bait down, and you want to use the lightest leader you can get away with.
Is that polycarbonate stuff good?
The fluorocarbon's great.
Fluorocarbon, I mean.
Yeah, you don't need it. when it came out, it was like it's invisible, fish can't see it. I don't think that's true at all. But I use it is because I can use, instead of using 40 pound, I'll drop down to 25 pound because it's stronger.
Oh, gotcha.
So you can use a lighter leader and get the same strength as you can of a heavier leader, and you can get away with that. That's how you get the extra bite.
What about
this is a silly question, but is the leader is just the string? I guess the
right,
line between the hook and the...
What a leader is you have your main line. All
okay.
Right? And then typically most people are using braided line. It's like woven line together.
It makes it stronger.
And then you have the leader is going to be monofilament.
Okay.
And that attaches. You tie that to the braided line.
Right. And then that goes to the hook, right?
That goes to the hook.
Okay.
And I would learn knots, which again is all over the internet. Practice it. Don't just get to the beach for the first time and try to figure it out. You want to try to get away from the swivels, the hardware.
See, I didn't know that. Yeah.
See, you get swivels are just more hardware, more they can see. So if you can learn tying line to line, these little things catch you that many more fish.
Really? And then, so the monofilament, so the leader at the end is stronger than the rest of the line.
But it's see-through and fish can't see it. Okay.
And you typically need about a 3 foot, a 3 foot leader.
Okay.
Really?
And here's another tip. You match your hook to the size of your bait, not the size of the fish. So if you buy shrimp and they're small, and you're trying to catch a big snook, you're not using like this big old hook because it's a big fish. You got to use a tiny hook to match the size of your shrimp or bait. Yeah.
To conceal
I didn't know that.
Conceal it, yeah.
They will see it if it's not concealed, will they?
Yeah.
So, I didn't realize fish could see so good.
Yeah. Well, certain fish, if you look at them, some got huge eyeballs. Other ones go on scent more. And
So what about the passes? What would you recommend for that?
Why are you laughing?
Because we tried 20, 60, 40. We thought it was probably a leader. All
right. So everybody goes to the passes. Most of the time, everybody goes to the middle. Right? You see all the boats in the middle of the passes.
Yeah.
Well, the middles are good if you want to catch snappers. And most time you want to use, I use like a 15-pound leader.
Really?
Really light.
Okay.
Because they're snapper are smart. But if you want to catch snook, redfish, they're all by the
edge, yeah.
They're by the edges, the docks, in those troughs.
Right.
Same as the beach. There's a trough from the currents dug it out. That's where those fish lay. And the smaller bait fish are up shallow. So the fish lay in that trough to ambush.
So at Captiva Pass, for example, there's that really deep spot on the corner. That we kept drifting over that. Is that a good spot?
Yeah, in Captiva Pass, there's actually like 5-6 ledges. You have the real big one,
right.
But if you go out a little bit and you drive around, you'll see where it'll go from 15 feet to 25 feet. That's any of those ledges is where the fish are going to hold. And so if you have a GPS, most GPS have a track.
Right.
Once you go over it, just make sure when you drift, you follow that same track, and you'll hit it every time.
Right, gotcha.
And also, when you're drifting, you want to keep your lines more straight up and down. What you don't want is you be drifting because you got a weight on it. Your line way stretched out. Once it gets stretched out, reel it in, drop it straight down. You want to try to keep it straight up and down. Yeah, and you'll snag less.
Wow.
Less
okay, this is amazing tips. Right. Max,
hold on, one more.
Oh, you're drilling
so what
down.
about? So I did one thing that you said that I was quite surprised about is in the fall, you can do like the near offshore stuff, and I didn't realize there was that many species that close in.
There's lots of them.
And what are you looking for? Are you looking for structure, or are you looking for ledges?
You're looking for natural ledges and hard bottom. And if you're not really sure, typically there's a set of hard bottom at 28 feet, 32 feet, and then the next one's at 42 feet. Basically, you can tell where you see a bunch of the stone crab traps.
Yeah,
they put it on the harder bottom.
Oh.
But you can go and get these diving plugs. And that's how I found a lot of my grouper spots, is pulling these plugs, and typically use a 60-pound leader. And these plugs now are real specific. You can buy one that's for 30 feet.
Oh, we did buy some of those, Max.
Yeah, 25 feet. And then you have ones for 40 feet.
Right.
So if you're in that 30-foot range, I typically use the 30-foot diver. And the ones I use are the Rapala X-Wraps and Nomads. The Mans and the Bombers, they tend to... You'll buy one, it'll swim right, and the other one won't. It'll come up and start spinning on you. If I had one to buy, it would probably be the The X wraps.
The X wraps. And so on that, do you put a swivel on that, or you still tie?
You can. I don't. But you can.
You don't. It doesn't. Like, it doesn't turn the line up.
No, it won't. No, it won't.
It won't. Okay.
No, you only use a swivel on spoons. Spoons spin.
Oh, okay.
So those they track straight. So what you want you want to stay about 5 miles an hour when you're pulling them.
Gotcha.
I'll put 2 out, stagger one farther back. You don't want them the same exact length out, so because when you turn, they'll tangle.
Oh, they'll
so you put one farther out and one shorter, and then when you make your turns, you'll do it. But if you get hook or grouper, I mean, you'll know. Yeah. And when you do it, hit X on your recorder, and I'll come back and start driving around and look for that hole he was in. And a lot of times you'll mark the ledge or you'll mark the fish. And most of the best ledges I have out here, and probably the reason good, most people can't find, we're only like 2 foot. You'll see
really just a tiny deviation.
Yeah, and that little break will hold fish.
Really, yeah. You can see that. I tell you what, if anything taught me about fishing, which obviously it didn't teach me much because we can't catch much, but I mean, when you actually scuba dive and you see underwater, you can see how every fish is looking for something to hide behind, or whether it's a feature of a ledge or whether it's a.
Yeah.
I mean, they love features, don't they?
Yeah. So the structure brings in the bait fish, right? So fish are, I always say, opportunity feeders, but are also ambush feeders, right? So if a big predator fish, if he's out in the open, the smaller fish know to stay away. So the groupers and these other bigger fish, the snook, they're going to sit by the structure, right? They hide behind it. It knocks the current off them, and they don't have to swim as hard in the current. So they're going to sit there and wait for those bait fish, and they're going to attack it.
So one leads to the other.
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff.
It's more like, when we used to do war, remember we used to fire the guns, the muskets, and then the guy would kneel down in the next one.
Right. Yeah. I see what
we got more where we're building bunkers, hiding, and all that, and ambushing. That's how fish are, right? Before they were everywhere, right? But now, the more and more people fishing, they start hiding more in structure, and you just got to get
the ones that survive are hiding.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Max. So you
need to write a book, Ozzie.
Yeah, seriously.
Come on, when's it coming out? You know so much.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's awesome.
It's ridiculous.
Awesome.
And how about you have children, correct?
I have one son. He's not a fishing guy. No, I kind of pushed him not to do it.
Right.
He's 25. He's doing really well. He's running a crew up in Washington, D.C. They're building the new Amazon buildings.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
So he's in construction.
Yeah, he's in construction. Yeah. I told him, I was like, listen, if you love something, it's not always the best to make it your job.
Yeah.
Right.
It really isn't.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I, do it, when you can fish when you want to fish, not fish because you have to fish.
Right, yeah.
But if you want to get into guiding, I'll help you. But the thing is now, like compared to this will give you an idea, the difference. All right, so when I first started guiding, I worked for a family for 2 years, the Brooks family, and I ran their boats and took friends of theirs and did that. Also, in the evening, I would bartend.
Where did you work?
I worked at Gilligan's.
Okay, which is now
the fish house.
It's
the fish house, isn't it?
Or the Island Cow.
The Island Cow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted, when I started my business, to be debt free. I had a boat built, a flats boat, brand new. It's called a backcountry when I first started guiding, and I bought a boat, trailer, fully rigged, trolling motor, and all that, and I got into it for everything for $23,000.
Wow.
Now to get into guiding,
imagine.
An expensive reel back then was a spinning reel was $100. I remember I spent $100 on my spinning reel. My dad's like, "You spent how much?" So now an average reel is anywhere from $180 to $500.
Really?
Yeah.
To get a decent one.
Yeah, an average boat, like a starter boat, right now is $75,000 to $100,000.
Right.
So to get going in this business, it takes a lot of money to do it.
And somebody like yourself, you were telling me, we were having a chat on the dock. He was cleaning his boat up at South Seas, and you were saying you change your motors out every 3 years as well.
I change my motors out every year.
Oh, every year. That's right. Yeah.
Every year.
I do it. Yeah. Well, what I do is I put a lot of hours on my engines, but I sell them before they get too old.
Right.
Too many hours on them. So I know how much it's going to cost me to repower. But that way I'm never broke down. but I have it in my budget for my business. So each year it's going to cost me about $6,000 to repower. But then again, all my stuff is new.
Right.
The biggest mistake a lot of these guys, I think it's a mistake, is they run their engines till they break. Well, they'll get 4,000 hours out of it. Then it's not worth anything.
It's not worth
and then they got to repower, and you're talking $25,000 to $30,000.
And to find that money.
Yeah, you got to
laying around.
Yeah, you better have that put away.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
Right.
So I know what it's cost. So like, if
That's
I have
smart.
an engine, I do have a problem. It's under warranty.
Right.
And these guys are like, oh, I don't need that. I'll do that. Well, they don't factor in. So each day you're not working, if you broke down, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it doesn't take very long if you're down a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why I didn't really push my son into guiding. I saw how many guides were getting out here and how flooded it is and just how much money it costs to get going. So all these guys, have these young guys, they're all driving brand new pickups.
Oh, yeah, just the pickup to pull the boat is
they're all driving
so
in
expensive.
these newer boats, but yet they're all single and they're all living like paycheck to paycheck and all their money's going into their boats and
trucks.
Or the
their
bar.
trucks. And I'm like, that's not how you...
That's not how you run a business. Yeah.
Not how you run a business. You want to be able to, put money away, retirement, send your kids to college. I mean, my dad, and granted, he busted his butt. He put all of us through private school and college.
Wow.
Being a fishing guide. So he busted
Good
his butt.
for him.
Yeah, him and my mom did that. And so,
That's
you
awesome.
don't do that buying $70,000 diesel trucks and $150,000 boats. And
Right.
Or losing it. Nick saw one go into the water. Punta Rasa.
Punta Rasa lost the whole
boat
thing.
went.
Straight
Or
down.
the whole
That
truck
happened.
went.
The whole
happens.
truck just slid right in.
Yeah.
Truck and the trailer.
Yeah, it seems
It's
like
on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, it seems like every one of those that I see happen is almost brand new too. You're like, oh.
Yeah, it's never the old beaters.
It's never the old beaters. It's the brand new Denali's and all that. You're like, oh,
I
God.
felt so sorry for the guy.
Yeah,
so
he was
sorry
just
for him.
sitting there like.
But you know what's funny? It was we put a shout out, and he had an offer of a truck, and not necessarily through us. We offered him. A friend offered him a truck to use, and somebody had already offered him a truck so he could carry on running his business. So some good came out of it. There were some decent people out there.
There's a lot of good people out there.
Yeah. Hey Max, have you got anything for us?
Wow, we could go on and on.
I know,
and on.
seriously.
All right.
I've got a few
You need to start your own podcast.
fishing centric trivia questions.
All right,
Okay.
here comes the trivia. Yeah,
Oh,
no, this
God.
is not fair. I know nothing about
Well,
fishing.
apparently Max and I don't either.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only thing you ever catch is catfish.
Look, you can stop now, okay?
Okay.
You can,
No, actually, in fact, we just put in a snook light in our dock.
yeah.
Okay.
And I saw a catfish swimming around it.
Yeah.
And I tried for over an hour to catch it.
I
couldn't even catch it.
Catfish are like the rats of the water.
Well,
Nobody
you guys
wants
do
them.
need my help. Huh?
We definitely need your help.
I was sight fishing a catfish.
And it
There
didn't,
must
it
have
didn't
been
want to
nothing
bite.
on Netflix that night.
Yeah, that's so true.
You do not want to catch them. They're horrible.
All right. We'll start off easy. True or false? Cape Coral has more canals than Venice, Italy.
Oh.
Ooh.
Which has more canals?
What does that have to do with fishing?
Water? I don't know.
I hold your.
Oh.
I don't know. I think that. Okay.
All right.
What did you have, Nick?
I said true 100%.
I said false.
I said true.
It's true. Cape Coral has more canals than Venice, Italy.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but there's a lot.
Do you know that link?
I think, isn't it? It's got thousands of miles, I think.
It's ridiculous.
And if I said it, I'll be
if you look
making
at
it
Cape
up, but-
Coral from a satellite, it is like
When I was a kid, right, we used to BMX race out there. And
when there was nothing.
there was
probably.
nothing. I used to swear it was the hottest place in Florida because when they built Cape Coral, they built all these canals and took down all the trees, and
yeah.
everything without the land selling. It was so you
Yeah.
got no breeze.
No.
Oh
Oh,
my!
breeze, and the water everywhere.
And
Keep
we'd
the
be in
humidity up.
BMX gear. You did in summertime. You'd have the for the full gear, the helmet. Oh my
Dying.
God, was that hot?
that is funny.
All right, what's next?
All right. Next question.
losing.
We talked about this earlier in the episode, but I don't think we got a date. In what year was the first tarpon caught on rod and reel, setting off the fishing frenzy in Southwest Florida?
What year?
What year? Closest gets it.
Oh gosh. I feel like it's. Is that too early?
7 o'clock. Yeah. I'm totally making this up, and actually, I'm changing my answer because
Why are you changing?
Because of something that happened around that time. I don't think they would have been bothering fishing.
What?
Can I change mine? Because I just looked at yours.
No, I don't think you can.
All right. Okay.
All right, Ozzie, you're first this time.
I had 1902.
I put 1897.
1897, Dad.
I got 1908.
1885 was the
wow.
first.
Ooh,
Mom.
yes.
And I said late 1800s when we were talking about it earlier.
You did
so
say
I
late
should have- I should
1800s.
have known better.
Wow.
Yeah, 1885.
I
and
can't
then-
imagine because the tackle they had there and the gears. How
Yeah,
they
it's probably
could-
like ropes.
Yeah, how they could eat this like string and how they could even like the reels could handle it.
Amazing. All right, so we're tied up 1-1-1.
Oh, actually, funny story I just remembered. My buddy is a fishing guide in Marco, and he got put on. He put his client on a tarpon, and he put 3 stories up in a row, Snapchat stories. He had the tarpon online for 2 hours and 45 minutes until it broke the line.
No way.
They
He's
were
down in
chasing it.
10,000 Islands. What's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Reeves, Carlisle. He chased it for 2 hours, and then it broke the line, and it was done.
That's disappointing.
The guy looked older. I don't know if he just couldn't pull it in or what was going on,
Didn't
but
have enough drag on it.
yeah,
That's not the problem.
that sounds
Yeah.
brutal.
All right.
All right,
Is this the
we're a
last
three-way
one?
tie. This is the last question, unless
Tiebreaker.
we wait, we can't have a tie on this one. Never mind, unless you all know the answer, but I don't think you do. Sanibel is known for its incredible Goliath grouper fishing. Do you ever go Goliath grouper fishing?
And
I
is that
catch them.
true?
I don't target them.
No, but sometimes
We
it's
caught
just
one
a-
yesterday, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Big
kid,
one?
40 pounds.
The bridge?
Oh.
No, we were on a close-in wreck catching snook on it off near shore.
Oh, wow.
And we caught one.
Wow.
Wow.
I used to. The last Goliath grouper trip I did, and it kind of ends up like all the other ones. I'll bring a big rod, and people get connected to it, and they don't realize how hard they're pulling. I end up having to pull on them, so I just tell people, no. There's other guys that'll take you to go target them. I'm not going to.
No.
But yeah, if we're fishing and we hook one, we'll try and catch it, but I'm not going to target them.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like the size of small
How
cars.
they
They're
must put
crazy.
up a crazy fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had two. I've landed 2 over 400 pounds.
Really?
How long were you fighting?
I think 15 minutes.
Oh, that's
Well,
it.
Well, the
Oh.
biggest one we caught in 22 feet of water, so it didn't take that long. Yeah, this customer, he bought a big rod and reel. He's passed away, but he brought it down to catch it. And we tried, and we kept breaking him off. After he landed that one, he looked at me and goes,
I'm done.
I don't want to ever do that again.
Oh my god.
They're huge. They're
Yeah.
huge. They're not very. We were spearfishing off of Edison Reef, and I had a hogfish on a stringer.
Yeah.
And one came up underneath me and grabbed it. I thought it was a shark. I thought it was something else. And you can see me get pulled back. It's actually on our YouTube channel. I got pulled back like 6 feet when it grabbed it, and that was
Ate the hogfish right off your
just
stringer.
Took it straight off my
yeah,
stringer.
they're pretty powerful fish.
No,
They don't
incredible.
fight that great though. You're just fighting.
Really?
Yeah,
It's just dead weight.
You're just fighting the weight of them.
Right,
You know,
right.
they got that big broom tail, so they
Yeah.
just pull slow on the bottom. It's not like they're going to pull fast or.
Right.
It's straight up and down. I got one quick story if we got it for it.
Yeah.
So I had
Yeah.
I had this guy, South Seas booked a charter for me, and I'm waiting on it, and I see this guy coming down the dock. I'm like, oh my god, what's he got? He has this reel. It's called an 80 wide. You know, as you get bigger for like you have 30 wides, 50 wides, 80 wides.
To hold more line, yeah.
130s. Like 80 wide you use to catch like, 1,000-pound marlin on, right? So he's walking down the dock and he's got this giant rod. I'm like, guy looks at me, he goes, I want to catch a 12-foot shark. I said, well, that's not going to happen. So he's like, I bought this. I stopped at Bass Pro and bought this.
And how much would that even cost?
He spent $1,500 on it.
No way.
Yeah, so he's
Oh.
like, I bought this. I want you to catch me a fish on it. I'm like, all right. I said, well, let's go try to get you Goliath grouper. Oh, I can handle it. So I go get some Jack Crevalles for bait. We're using like 10-pound bait. So we put him on, and he even bought a harness. So he's got the harness, and I put it down, and I'm like, all right. So I was like, oh, I'm going to teach this guy a lesson. So I took his drag, and I cranked it. And I'm like...
Tightened it up.
I really tightened it up. And I was like, okay, when it gets down there, it's probably not going to take very long. You just be prepared. Brace your feet. I don't think you realize, oh, I got it. This rod can handle anything. So it gets down there, and after about a minute, the Goliath eats, and it just basically the phrase is called gunneled him. The rod's on the gunnel, and it's doing everything.
He's wrapped over it.
He's wrapped over it. This guy started screaming like a little girl, cut the line, cut the line. He thought he was going in the water. So I look at him, I'm like, he's a cut the line. So I cut it. And he looks at me and he goes, you didn't tell me to pull this hard. I'm like, yeah, I said they're big, right? So I said, no. He goes, I want to do it again. Now I know what. I'm prepared. And I was like, okay. I rig them up, do it again. I said, the same fish is probably going to eat. They don't care if they got a hook in it.
Yeah, they're pretty stupid.
So I drop it back down. Same thing happens again. And this thing starts running. So he's getting pulled up to the front of the boat. Now it's getting pulled to the back of the boat. Then he starts screaming again, cut the line, cut the line. I cut the line. He looks at me, hands me around, and he goes, you can take me in.
Oh, no. Oh,
no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I wish you had that on video.
Oh, that would have been the ultimate YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, man.
You would have a million hits on
This
that.
guy was from New Jersey, just very loud, like
I can
boisterous.
Right.
And, he was going to do it. He knew everything. I've never seen such a humbling experience
That's awesome.
in my life.
That's good.
Oh, my God. That's so
Don't
funny.
be that guy.
No.
Yeah. I've only in 26 years of guiding. He's the only one.
He's the only
Right.
one. Okay.
He sticks
All right.
out.
All right.
All right, here we
Max,
go,
final
Max.
question. Hit me
All right, final question.
Who's going to get to ring the bell?
Sanibel is known for its incredible Goliath grouper fishing. However, the largest ever Goliath grouper was caught in Fernandina Beach. How much did it weigh?
I feel like we've had this question.
We may have. It was caught in 1961.
Oh, so there you go. All right. You ready, Nick?
Just a little story.
What?
One of our wedding customers bought, I think, didn't they catch a record one round here? Off of the beach.
Off like the causeway.
Causeway, yeah.
Yeah. All right, go for it, Nick. What'd you say?
620
I
pounds.
put 550.
I have 850 pounds.
Whoa.
What is it?
680.
Ooh.
Oh.
680.
Well, who's the winner then?
Is-
Nick, you are.
Nick,
yeah,
Nick's
Nick, yeah.
closest.
Nick's closest.
680.
Got it.
They do get up to 800 pounds, but have never been caught.
All right.
Yeah.
I know scientists,
Okay.
biologists have told
But
me
yeah.
800
Okay.
pounds. That's why I had that number in my head.
All right, that's your
Okay, here we
challenge.
go.
Yeah, that's your
Ozzie.
challenge. You need an 800-pounder.
More useless information.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you catch one, you could be in the Guinness Book of World Records.
It's been a
I guess.
60-year standing record, so...
Well, the thing is, the record will never be broken because you can't kill them, right?
Oh.
So you can't get them out of the water.
Can't get out of the water.
So it's a way.
So it's a record that'll never be broken.
Right.
Oh, you can't, because you can't
They're
officially weigh
protected.
them. But you could measure it and guess. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you measure a guess, but it's not.
It's not.
It's not official.
It's not official?
It's not gonna. I don't think it's official.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Why are they?
All right.
They're protected? Were they overfished?
They were overfished,
Yeah, so-
yeah.
That's the most protected fish we have.
Really?
Yeah. So they started. I think you weren't allowed to kill any since 1992.
Oh,
And
wow.
well, see, what happened was they weren't that many taken on rod and reel. The divers used to wipe them out. They almost did with bang sticks.
Oh, with the they
That
banned
seems
those
so
too, didn't they?
unfair, doesn't it?
bang sticks.
I don't know why you'd even want to kill
Do it.
one. I mean, I couldn't imagine.
If you don't know what a
Clear
bang
one.
stick is, it's basically a tube that holds a bullet
Shotgun
in the
shell.
end of it, or a round or a projectile, and you basically bang it on the fish.
I
and it
watched my
shoots through it.
dad. So I used to go and mate for my dad when I was a kid. And back in the day, before we started fishing the flats for tarpon, we did almost all our tarpon fishing up in Boca Grande. And you'd leave at 4 in the morning, and you fish the morning bite till like 8 a.m. It was tradition. And then after that, you go to breakfast at Cabbage Key. Well, we were up there, and we got a huge Goliath grouper. And I remember the charter being very boisterous to my dad that they wanted to keep it. My dad's like, no, you want to let it go. They're like, no, we want to keep it. So we couldn't even get in the boat. We had to drag it in the water from Boca Grande back to Captiva. It took forever. But I remember then my dad and I were trying to figure out how do you get it up to clean this thing. It was not
easy.
To say my dad was in a good mood, that was not so much.
Oh my God.
So we went to breakfast. We go to breakfast at Cabbage Key, and we got this Goliath grouper tied off the back of it. We just left it in the water till we left, and then we
towed it back to South Seas.
My gosh.
And I think they had a block and tackle there, and we were able to get up on the dock and had to clean it on the dock. And I remember helping my dad, and he was not good.
Is it even like good eats?
No, it's like anything that gets that big. It's probably not very good.
Don't ask Ozzie. He doesn't even like fish.
That's true.
I like fish. I like fish. It's like if you worked in an ice cream shop.
I get it. Which Max did.
I did. I didn't eat ice cream for 2 years.
Yeah, you still like ice cream. It's just like your body.
I would never crave it.
That's it. I don't crave it. There you go. That's
go.
probably the best way.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
close us out, Dad.
Thank you very much for giving us your
I'm
time.
sure, and there's so many more stories.
We should do it again sometime because I think we missed a lot of stuff. But thanks very much. If you want to book a fishing charter with Ozzie, look in the description below for his contact info, and thoroughly recommend him. He's well known on the island and local fishing legend, so you won't go wrong. Thanks very much for coming.
Thank you.
Please like and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you tune back in for the next one. Thanks very much. Have a good one, guys. Okay, and a quick shout out to our supporters. Without our supporters, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. Bailey's General Store, Doc Ford's Rum Bar and Grill, Spoondrift Island Bowls, 3 Crafty Ladies, GatorBites Tail and Ale, Priscilla's of Sanibel, Coco y Cabana, Suncatchers Dream, and Sanibel Carts. And don't forget to reach out to Captains for Clean Water, one of our favourite island charities. Thanks very much. See you on the next one.